Once again, Donald Trump is making excuses for why these tariffs need to remain in place.
Nothing. But it's not only tariffs, it's non-monetary tariffs. It's tariffs where they put things on that make it impossible for you to sell a car. It's not a money thing. They make it so difficult, the standards and the tests. They drop a bowling ball on the top of your car from 20 feet up in the air, and if there's a little dent, they say, no, I'm sorry, your car doesn't qualify. When the same car from Germany or anything would dent likewise, unless you can have an army tank, it's going to dent. So they come up with rules and regulations that are just designed for one reason, that you can't send your product in those countries, and we're not going to let that happen.
So let's go through some of the reasons or excuses he's made for doing these tariffs. How about bringing back jobs, making America wealthy again, or to reduce the trade deficit to stop other countries from ripping us off? Or how about, it's for our national security that we're doing this, and these would bring industries, back home. Or how about he's doing it because he wants to counter the, quote, unfair trading practices and to make other countries play fair. This is one of my favorite excuses that he uses to pressure other countries like Mexico and Canada to crack down on illegal immigration and to stop drug trafficking. Or this one, to generate billions and billions and hundreds of billions of dollars for the federal government.
It's going to be very interesting. It's the only chance our country will have to reset the table. Because no other president would be willing to do what I'm doing or to even go through it. Now, I don't mind going through it because I see a beautiful picture at the end. But we are making tremendous progress with a lot of countries, and the countries that really took advantage of us.
Why don't we make that the seventh reason we need these tariffs? Because in the end, he sees a beautiful picture in his head.
Maybe, our country was the strongest, believe it or not, from 1870 to 1913. You know why? It was all tariff-based. We had no income tax. Then in 1913, some genius came up with the idea of let's charge the people of our country, not foreign countries that are ripping off our country. And the country was never that kind of wealth. We had so much wealth, we didn't know what to do with our money. We had meetings, we had committees, and these committees worked tirelessly to study one subject. We have so much money. What are we going to do with it? Who are we going to give it to? And I hope we're going to be in that position again.
It seems like the billionaires who backed Donald Trump are suddenly realizing he wasn't joking about the tariffs. There have been several of them going on the internet over the weekend complaining about a lack of strategy among the tariffs. One of them is Elon Musk, who hasn't explicitly said this, but he has thrown a lot of shade in the comments about Trump's tariff strategy. Now, this is really significant because we have seen a shift happening over the last couple of days from the White House. There's been a big question about whether this is a negotiating tactic to get better trade deals, or if Trump just wants high tariffs because he wants the money and the revenue that comes from tariffs, or because he thinks that this is just the way the world ought to work. I think there's a lot of evidence that Trump and several people around him, like his trade advisor, Peter Navarro, believe that this is the way that the world should work. But maybe others, like Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, understand what happens when the market starts to crash. Today was a pretty bumpy day on Wall Street, and that has implications for every single one of you in terms of your retirement, in terms of your pension funds, in terms of the way that your businesses plan and hire and fire. So we're in a really critical period for the economy. Tonight on Newsnight, we're going to have a big economic debate. Richard Quest is going to be back, Rana Foroohar, and we'll have an economist who is on Donald Trump's side of this, and we will debate the pros and cons of his tariff strategy.
We have some news right now. Elon Musk personally urged Donald Trump to reverse and roll back his tariffs program over the weekend. but Donald Trump wasn't having it and still moved forward nonetheless. According to Washington Post reporting, Musk met with Donald Trump on multiple occasions over the weekend to essentially try to get him to roll back these tariffs, but it didn't work. And want to know the reason why? Well, the reason why is because Tesla is harmed by Donald Trump's tariffs. Musk had long been advocating for a tariff-free zone between Europe and the United States. He even clashed with Peter Navarro, Donald Trump's senior advisor on trade, publicly and privately, and yet none of that works. Now, Elon Musk's brother is attacking Donald Trump publicly. Musk has been very quiet about tariffs publicly, so it's been a very interesting dichotomy. But in any event, Musk wanted these tariffs out. Trump didn't let him. I'll do a full breakdown on my Substack, link to my bio, so be sure to subscribe for free. Comment below your thoughts, spread the word, and follow along for all the news you need to know about. More to come very soon.
Elon Musk now says that he hopes the United States and Europe move to a zero tariff situation, turning on Trump's total tariff takedown. And he says he also wants more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America. Here is Elon Musk. Take a listen to this. They are turning on Trump.
And I'm hopeful, for example, with the tariffs, that at the end of the day, I hope it is agreed that both Europe and the United States should move, ideally, in my view, to a zero tariff situation, effectively creating a free trade zone between Europe and North America. And that would be that's what I hope occurs. And also more freedom of people to move between Europe and North America, if they wish. If they wish to work in Europe or wish to work in America, they should be allowed to do so, in my view. So that has certainly been my advice to the president.
So this is 180 degrees different than what Trump has been pushing and what Trump has proposed. Now, I see that there are some people out there saying, oh, David, this is not Musk breaking with Trump. They all have the same goals. Musk wants zero tariffs, and Trump eventually wants zero tariffs. This entire global tariff gambit, where even islands inhabited only by penguins are having tariffs placed on them, this is all to eventually get to zero tariffs. Well, this isn't necessary if the goal is to get to zero tariffs. Go right to other countries and say, let's go to zero tariffs. You could do that. There's no rule that says you have to do this to get them to negotiate. And this Elon Musk video was published just days after Donald Trump doubled down on this catastrophic round of tariffs, which is tanking markets. It's putting global trade on red alert. So what you are seeing now is Musk, the guy MAGA thought was their billionaire champion, completely rejecting the economic nationalism of Donald Trump.
An additional 50% tariff on China. An additional 50% on China. Get prepared to pay 104% tariff on China. Everything that you get from China, double. It's done. That's if they don't walk back their retaliatory tariff. China's getting another 50%. Donald Trump is just doling these out like Oprah giving out prizes, like you get a tariff, you get a tariff. Like China has been nailed to the wall. And I'm not saying we need to protect China, but do you guys understand how much shit comes from China? And people are like, oh, we just won't buy that stuff anymore. We won't buy from China. Yeah, you will, because you can't resist Chinese little trinkets. You can't resist Chinese shit. I had things at work that were made. One was a little rubber ducky. It was made in China. We cannot resist collectively the little tchotchkes and little things that are made in China. Those cheap toys, Five Below is going to be 25 below here in just a few short days. Like they're not going to be able to stay in business because all that crap comes from China. We are a consumeristic society. We do not make things. We are not built to make things. We are built to consume. And what we consume, when everybody's building their little Easter basket for their children, it's all Chinese shit. I've seen TikTok shop videos. They're saying, oh, don't worry about putting candy in these eggs. Get these eggs that are pre-filled with toys. Yeah, all those toys, it's horse shit from China. It's horseshit, but we can't resist it as Americans. We want all the cheap Chinese shit, all that Shein stuff. We want to shop like a Temu billionaire. We want to get all the cheapest stuff. We don't care about fast fashion. We don't care about quality, long-lasting brands in this country. We want it now when we want it cheaply. That is America's problem. So with everything that you get, all these people of Walmart, good luck. Look on your shelves. It's all from Bangladesh, Indonesia, China, and Vietnam. So good luck with these tariffs. These tariffs are a tax on the poor. The poor are going to feel it because they have less income. So this percent increase is going to hit them the hardest. And all these MAGA people, they're part of the poor. So good luck paying twice as much for your Chinese shit.
Tariffs from China are expected to go to 104% tomorrow. That means literally any product you purchase from China will double in cost. Double. For reference, America, which has tariffed every country, which is a trade war with every country in the world, except for Russia, China, for their exports, America totals 13% of their GDP. For their imports, it's 6%. For reference, because America has started a trade war with every country, that equals 100% of American exports and 100% of American imports. It's very easy to see which country is more negatively impacted by these tariffs. That's the math. That's what it is. So today, expect it to get a lot worse because Vietnam wanted zero tariffs and America said no.
What do you mean more tariffs? We can't even afford the ones we got right now. Now, the commander-in-chief just recently posted this on Truth Social, and he said yesterday China issued retaliatory tariffs of 34% on top of their already record-setting tariffs, non-monetary tariffs, illegal subsidization of companies, and massive long-term currency manipulation. Wow, it's a lot of run-on sentences here. Despite my warnings that any country that retaliates against the U.S. by issuing additional tariffs above the beyond their already existing long-term tariffs of abuse of our nation, will be immediately met with new and substantially higher tariffs over and above those initially set. Period. Therefore, if China does not withdraw its 34% increase above their already long-term trading abuses by tomorrow, which is the 8th, April 8th, 2025, the United States will impose additional tariffs on China of 50% effective April 9th. Additionally, all talks with China concerning their requested meetings with us will be terminated. Negotiations with other countries, which have also requested meetings, will begin taking place immediately. Thank you for your attention at this matter. I can't take nothing this man says seriously because the market is in free fall. At this point, the market is in free fall. We're in the middle of a recession. Like, anything that he posts online is literally kabuki theater. And you know it's a joke because the last thing he just posted was him meeting with the Los Angeles Dodgers because they won the World Series. Like, nothing he says I take seriously. America is in a free fall, so just make sure your pantries are full.
If Canada can put big bad tariffs on us, why can't we put big beautiful tariffs right back on them and all 173 other countries? Because places like Canada did it the standard way, unlike us. And the standard way says if you have a product that is produced domestically, it makes more sense to your economy that the people who live in your country would buy what you produce domestically instead of importing the same item from somewhere else. So if you put a tariff on that same item from somewhere else, that tariff gets passed to the consumer, making it less of a good idea to the consumer to buy that item. They're not as likely to buy the higher priced item. They're going to shop local because shopping local is less money, which supports the local economy. So Canada did that with dairy. Many, many years ago, Canada said, hey, we have cows. We don't need America's cows. America's cows are no better than our cows. We have cows. We have the product. So therefore, we're going to put a tariff on their product, which means you can still have it if you would like it. Canadians, you are welcome to U.S. dairy from the same kind of cows. You're just going to have to pay more for it. It's going to cost you more money, which incentivizes Canadians to shop local for their dairy, which helps the Canadian economy instead of helping the U.S. economy. because they're Canadians and they want to help their own economy. That's how a tariff works. If we don't have the item local, if it is not here already, putting a tariff on it is pointless. It's pointless. Think it all the way through, beginning to end.
One thing that this tariffs nonsense has really shown me is just how alienated most Americans are from the products that they consume day in, day out. They genuinely have zero idea the production process that goes into like the vast majority of their little consumer habits. Like, there are genuinely people, voters, who have the understanding that, what do you mean? Food comes from the grocery store, right? Like, the takeaway when you hear the price of an iPhone could jump up to $100,000 per phone if it were wholly made in the United States should really be, oh my God, the rest of the world is directly subsidizing the American consumer lifestyle. Someone pointed out, oh, the tariffs on Madagascar are going to radically increase the price of vanilla, which will have massive knock-on effects on the rest of the market. And people were like, what do you mean? We'll just grow our own vanilla. Naturally, those people got absolutely schooled on how impossible that is and how demanding vanilla cultivation really is. But the lesson there is that the only reason we can have bottles of vanilla extract for like $5 a pop is because the global neoliberal order has turned the global periphery in like countries like Madagascar into export-oriented economies. Are these tariffs a good policy? No. But the prosperity that Americans enjoyed under free trade is because of the exploitation of the global south. And that's actually more problematic. To the point where Americans don't even know that in order for them to have $5 t-shirts and caramel macchiatos, there are hundreds of millions of people in the global south, faceless hordes to most of you, who had to suffer lives of poverty and exploitation and death. That is the original sin of the American economic system, and until we solve this problem of alienation, of people not knowing where their stuff comes from and who made it, we're just going to be squabbling over different modes of exploitation.